Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Lighten Up Zen Life. I am super excited to be here tonight with my co-host, Nancy. Everyone say hi to Nancy. Nancy, say hi to everyone.
Hello, everybody.
So Nancy and I were discussing what our week looked like, pulling nice tidbits out of it to present to you this evening. And we had a couple different subjects of select. Before we get started with what we wanted to converse with you about, one thing that I wanted to prerequisite this conversation with was something fundamental. Victims get victimized. If they feel like a victim, they're going to attract more situations in which they are a victim. Then martyrs comes from a place of pride and sacrifice. Martyrs eventually get burned at the stake. A savior, the mentality of having the desire to save everybody, eventually get sacrificed, and then liberators get liberated. So these modalities, these ways of being, they're law of attraction based. And not that you'll actually get burned to a stake or anything like that, but the premise is that you're going to the premise is that we live in a law of attraction based universe, and as Nancy always says, it's important to know what works and to do what works, otherwise we just get more of the stuff that we don't want. So before I put any marbles in my mouth, I'm going to hand it over to Nancy to take it away. Hi, Denise. Welcome.
Yeah. Well, with everything going on, all the different tons of things going on simultaneously, there's something that came to me this week that really seems very, very important to understand. And so I thought maybe we could start off with that. And it has to do with manifesting and being the magnet that we want to attract and so on. It has to do with that. It's not a new subject. It's an ongoing subject because it's so important. Because right now, if there was ever a time we need to manifest, this is it. And one of the things that is interesting is that if I'm not having success, I use myself, when I say these things, I use myself because I don't feel like I have the right to pin it to anyone else. But if it doesn't mean I'm doing it, it just means I'm aware of it. But if I were to, let me say it that way, if I were to want to manifest something and I'm not getting it done, we all know that possibility are blocks too, that we have some kind of subconscious difference within us that goes against what we are trying to. I think I'm echoing or something.
It's not coming across like an echo on our end.
Okay. All right. I can have subconscious blocks, and I can have attitudes, and I can have stubbornness, and I can have many things that cause me not to get done what I need to do or manifest what I want. But one of the most important parts is if I'm coming from need, NEED, if I feel that I'm coming from need, I need the money. I need to have a person in my life. I need to. Teresa, I'm really sorry, but it's really loud. I can't. Something's in between.
Okay, you want to hang up and we'll call back?
Yeah, that would be great because I'm distracted by it.
Sure. Sorry about that.
Hello?
Hi, is that better?
Much better.
Oh, good. Okay.
It was louder than me. Anyway, if I need, we can have a mindset. I need money. I have bills to pay. I need money because I need money for a lot of different things. I've got children and they need things and this and that and all these different things. We might think we need to control. And if I don't have control, then I'm going to be really upset. and something bad is going to happen to me. I need to have a feeling of pride and joy, and I need to be popular. I need to have success. I need to have all kinds of. I need to obey what I'm want. Anytime you come from need, let me get right straight to the point. Anytime you come from need, you're going to have fear. It's automatic. Need draws fear. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, just make sure I was there. Need draws fear. And if I don't get it, what happens if I don't get what I need? What happens if I lose the opportunity? What happens if I don't get hired? What happens if this or that? And I need this job. I need to have this opportunity. I need to be in charge here. I need to have. So anytime you have a fear, you're going to automatically have doubt, and you're going to automatically have confusion and anger maybe, or disappointment, or you're in a lower level. So fear is, again, the second dimension, and it's a if I'm coming, what we need to do, I think what we need to do is we need to examine when I'm trying to manifest something. Am I actually coming from fear? Is it fear that I'm not going to get it? Is it fear that I do have it and I lost it? Is it fear because I really, really need it? Because life, these people that just went through, the California fires, I'm sure they have a number of needs going on, and the firemen have needs. Everybody's got needs. But if I come from manifesting from the need point of view, I am not going to come, and it will not work. Just doesn't work. The bottom line is it doesn't work. And if you come across, it's codependent. First of all, it's like, and it also is, it's a kind of manifesting that I don't think I'm really going to get it. You're leaving it up in the air whether you're going to get it or not, and it just doesn't work. And so anyway, getting on. If you're not getting ahead, and examine if there's any fear on any level, then understand you gotta switch it to want. So lately, I've been asking people, what do you want? What is it that you want? What do you want? If you come from want, you're coming from the universe. If you come from need, you're expecting everything outside to work. You're expecting people to behave. You're expecting people to do certain things. You're expecting the money to be there. You're expecting a government, a religion. You're expecting, if you bank on the outside fulfilling your manifestation, then you're in need, and you're in codependency, and you're in the opportunity to not get what you want.
Nancy, can I ask you a question in that?
Sure.
So my question to you is, I was taught to not use want or need, and instead say something like, I'm grateful I have. So what's, like, instead of saying I want money, car, relationship, you're going to say, I'm so grateful to have, and then it switches your disposition to the point of receiving.
Jumped ahead. Teresa, when you think about it, what you just said, yeah, it's true, but you jumped ahead, because before you can even do that, you got to have some idea what you want or what you need.
You are correct. You're correct. I'll be quiet now.
No, don't be quiet.
No.
I'm stumbling here a little bit because anyway, if you don't get what you need, and if you don't know what you want, you're not going to get what you need. And if you, like I've said this so many times, a lot of people want money, which is very reasonable, and it's exactly what we should be wanting. But at the same time, what do I really want? I want money so I can be stable. I want money so I can be free to do the things I want to do. I want money so I can get my kid and have my kids and everybody around me help them do whatever they want to do. I want the money to be freedom, mostly about freedom. Most people want money for freedom and stability. So what do I want? People are not clear. I'm saying this right now. People are not clear what they want. They think they are, but they're coming from a space of need and not what do I want. The reason that they come from need, that's obvious. It's on the outside. It's either a loss of something, or I need a coat because it's cold out. The needs are much more visible than what the wants are. The
Right.
wants are intuition. The wants are the things behind the back that's going to make me magnetize happiness and peace and harmony. It's inside. So it's always harder for most people to come from a want or from a what do you want than it is to come from I need, because the needs are obvious in front of our face, where the wants are to be manifested, just like you just said, by having inspiration, by having an attitude that it's already there in mind. It's very difficult because it's invisible first, and then it becomes visible. But it is unlimited when you come from the want. What do you want? The universe, your God, your spirit is going to come, and if you really, really want it, and you really, really, really understand it, and you really, really, really have done your homework as far as manifesting, what you want to manifest, and then you ask for a lack of blocks, not to be blocked. You ask for perfect, the higher beings, your high self can go overlook. It can go through blocks, remove them. The violet light can move the blocks very easily. You may or may not be aware of what blocks you do have, but if you're not aware of them, they're the ones that are stopping you, probably, because the ones that you're aware of, you take care of and you let go, or at least you understand it. But the idea is, if you want to manifest, you need to come from a place of want, not need. Because it's the only free, it puts you right in touch with the unknown and the unseen. That's true, and it's a little scary that way. But I'm watching over and over again people that are manifesting and getting disappointed. And the reason I'm mentioning this, I've seen this a lot. It takes faith and trust to have a want fulfilled, where the need, it becomes obvious, but I won't get what I want because I'm going to be concentrating on what my mind is saying that's negative, and it's going to be programming the wrong thing.
That's correct. I actually just had this conversation earlier with an individual who had called me and was stressed about, one job in between the next because they're an independent contractor.
Right.
And, and what I like is that because we've had so many conversations at this point, they said, I'm integrating in that, or I'm watching it get faster. Old me would be completely in fear. Learning me says, before I enter into fear, enter into creativity. And I love the way that was said, because manifesting and how we work with our energy really is rooted in a place of creativity. So for myself, I'll say, I'm grateful to have fill in the blank. That puts me in a high vibrational frequency. But when you move past those words to the imagination, the image, the energy, the understanding, the visualization of those words, you really are saying there's a whole big earth out there, and all these individual threads are weaving in and out of each other, uniting like frequencies together, whether they be person, place, or thing. So as they're scattered out throughout all time and all space, and it's all been created, and source has already created it for us, we're just putting an order out to the multiverse. And what we're saying is, I want, the same way we would go to a restaurant, I want a burger, fries, and a milkshake. The same thing we're going to do by going out to the universe and say, I want like-minded friends. I want artistic experiences. I want joy. I want security. I want freedom. I want financial abundance. I want prosperity. I want good health. I want optimal being. You're putting that order in, and then you're expecting the universe to deliver it back to you, because why wouldn't you? You wouldn't go to a restaurant and ask for a burger, fries, and a milkshake, and then assume that you weren't going to receive that order from the restaurant unless you went to a really crummy restaurant, but you don't think the multiverse is a really crummy restaurant, so we're going to hold space for it to be received. And then as it's being, the space for it is being received, Florence Scovel Shinn has this really great technique called birds and twigs, looking for birds and twigs. And essentially, it's when mariners, pirates, people who were out on the water back at that time, they didn't have the GPS technology that we do today. They would have to go with what the natural world provided to navigate. So when they got close to land, they would start to see land birds and twigs. So after months and months and months out on the open ocean, they would then realize, when a couple sticks started floating by and land birds were in view, oh my God, we're close to land. And then they would look to all the signs and they would start preparing their vessel to dock and land on, the new land or the new territory that they were in and get to where they were going. So it's the same thing every day. Instead of saying, oh, it's not coming, or where is it, which is going to facilitate that lack and that doubt, we're saying, let me look in my world around me to see where there is a sign of what it is that I've asked for, or let me wake up and have a sign of joy today. So when you're waking up in the morning, you're, thank you for blessing me with all these great blessings. Thank you for putting me in a positive disposition. Thank you for all the blessings that I have. Thank you for being optimal in mind, body, heart, and soul. And you're setting the tone for the morning to become that point of attraction throughout the day. And then you put your order out, and then you look for birds and twigs, and then you receive, and you keep up this high vibration. And when your vibration is not lowered by other people's dispositions or something that comes along, if you can resist the temptation to become crumpled, you will keep moving without resistance through your reality and be that strong point of attraction to the things that you want.
Well, comparing is one of the things that the mind likes to do. It likes to judge and compare, and people overthink things. And when you overthink, this person has a lot of money. Why would they, why they can't be in fear if something happened to it and disappeared? People that have money are in as much fear a lot of times as the people that don't. And they may react, again, it can be a landlord, and by God, you got to pay now. And there's a difference between a business, and there's a difference between business and a service. So there's a lot of people that are going to act out, especially with all the stuff that's happened and so on. I would think they're going to probably act out. But a person who has money is in fear that they're going to lose it. A lot of times, or they don't have enough, or they don't have enough power, or it takes money to make power, and to have power, someone's going to take them, or they're only going to like me for my money, they're going to use me, so there's all these sidebars that go along with all this stuff. My point is that if I want a fair chance to manifest, I need to come from want and knowing the universe. And I need to, right now in this day and age, we need to probably, most of us would probably need to have the universe help us. I can go to the fifth dimension and ask, how do I do this? How do I remove these blocks? I mean, how can, please take away my fear. Because most people are in fear, and there's fear in a lot of things right now. Fear that I'm going to be alone, fear that I'm going to get sick, fear that and this is all fed by the matrix, the computer program. Much of it is really fixed. We're sitting there and saying, well, it's right in front of my face. This is real. I mean, obviously this is real. I've got this problem, or I'm watching this problem, and I might be next. And so, but if all I can say is when we have fear, anyone has fear, you're going to automatically be separated from source. And when you have fear, you're automatically going to want or have need, and you're automatically going to probably start trying to manifest from that mode. It's a dead candle. It's an unlit candle. It will not feed the poor. So people have vision, and they know what they want. They have vision how to help people. They have vision to understand things. They have vision and compassion. But it's going to be, what do I want? I want help. What do I want? I want to be peaceful. What do I want? I want to enjoy my life. What do I want? I want to go inside where everything is possible instead of being in the outside and having that computer program and other people who don't have a comfortable understanding. I don't want to be the victim. And victims get victimized, just like you said. And, I don't know that I guess we could get out, on the stake. But if you are a savior, you're taking on a crucifixion.
Yeah.
You're going to take on a cause. I mean, it is. It's just what happens.
Think about it even with relationships.
I used to tell my son, did that one place where he worked, and he was helping everybody. And I said, Brian, if you're not willing to take the crucifixion, don't do it. Otherwise be available. You know that everybody's not going to agree with you. That it's not always going to be popular, and that's a negative thought, because now we're in a different age and a lot of things are different. So now we can do a lot of things. People are waking up, and we have much more of an opportunity to be able to come from what do I want. What do you really want? If you have a fight, an argument with a friend, and someone who's close to you, or a family member, whatever, a boss, or a person you work with, if you have a disagreement, most people that have M's on their hand and are masters, they're going to be very upset because they don't want the conflict. If you had your druthers, I mean, you stand up for it, or and understand why it happened, and it takes two to disagree, right?
Yeah.
It takes two to fight, and not to disagree, but to fight. Two different points of view. But if you had your wish, in that negative moment, if you had your wish, you would wish that either A, never happened, or you could come to some kind of solution.
Yes.
A peace. You want peace.
Yeah.
It's inside of us. It's not something that just floats around in the air outside and is floating around, and when you get lucky enough, the peace feeling came in, and it's inside every person. It's a need that is absolutely inside every single person, whether they recognize it or not, whether they realize it or not. If most of us that are on a higher plane, we want to have peace, harmony. Doesn't mean we have to agree with everybody. Doesn't mean everyone has to agree. It doesn't matter that everyone has to be the same. If we came from this is a cosmic Nancy talking. I personally think a lot of us came from different planets. We may have come from the high energy, but there's many planets. I don't expect people to be the same. I don't expect them to have the same cultures. I don't expect them to eat the same food, take the same meds, come up with the same ideas. I think we are, there is a variety of every single thing in our universe here on Earth. And that is diversity. And I think that it was important. First of all, the whole universe is going through the shift. Secondly, that it's important to have diversity, because I wouldn't understand anyone else, only my own way of thinking. And that's part of the problem, is we expect people to be they have to think the way I think. No, they don't. No, they do not. They have to we have to be in the same place. We have to compare ourselves, and we either fight against it or we join it. No, we don't have to do anything like that. What we need to do is know, what do you want?
Right. And the other thing too that you gave me advice on a while ago, Nancy, was people are not born here to be who and what we want them to be. Everybody has their own story. Everybody has why they incarnated, and it's not up to us. So like pouting or being upset when people are not what we want them to be, it's not their job to be. So it's up to us to self-soothe or to heal when we feel some sort of way in response to a situation.
If somebody is acting out and being really abusive and so on, you have different choices.
Right.
One is you can remove yourself. I mean, if that's possible. If it's not possible, then ask for the real self to come in.
Right.
Ask for both real selves to come in. The real self, the one that's inside, that wants peace, wants harmony, wants to accomplish something, would rather, really don't want the conflict. But then we have this little disease going on, and it's been going on for a long time, but it's really, I see it a lot now. And that the disease is, I have to be right disease. I am right. This is the only way to think. I'm right. You're wrong. I'm right. I'm not going to, and so on. Whether we're right or wrong has nothing to do with it. That's why I try not to depend on understanding on right and wrong, good or bad issues. I'm looking at myself and asking, is this working?
Right.
Does it work or doesn't it? If you go to right and wrong, you're going to an opinion. You're going to an idea of something, a belief system that you have and you learned and so on. You may be going to your own experience and you may be absolutely right. But how you handle the right, if you are right and you know it, you shouldn't have a lot of fighting or arguing to do. I mean, if you know it, you know it.
Well,
And it doesn't have, it's not your job to necessarily convince everyone else, and it's not your job to let go of what you think. But you got to be open-minded. I mean, what if there's multiple universes happening simultaneously, which I think there are? And I think I mentioned this before, but I had people every once in a while, it doesn't happen often, thank God, but I'll have someone say, Nancy, you said this. And I would sit there and go, that's not something I would say. I would find that hard to believe I said that. I mean, really, I don't know. I mean, that doesn't resonate with me. That's not the way I think. So if I said it, I can't imagine myself doing that. If there's a parallel universe of a Nancy, very well possible she said it on that universe. And if that's the case, and I was between universes, I said it, but I was really on a different plane, and I said it in this universe, then that's a possibility. The important thing is, I would say to that situation now, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, I keep hearing noises.
I know, it's weird.
I would sit there, if I wanted to be honest, if I understand there's parallel universes, okay, if I said that, here's where I'm at now.
Well, the other thing
here's why I don't think that, if I said that, I'm not in the same mode of saying it again. I wouldn't do that again in this time period. So, I mean, rather than fight and say, no, I know I didn't say that. I don't do that anymore. If it's really, really bad, then I'm sitting there going, well, if I ever said that, I would regret that. Instead of arguing who's right and who's wrong, does it work?
Right.
You're not going to convince someone if they think they heard something, and people misunderstand. They hear what they think they want to hear, from this. We do it with the news. We do it all over the place. But that's not the point. The point is something in my life working or is it not working?
Right.
And what's not working, what is absolutely not working is fear. And what is absolutely not working, so how do we get rid, I know I'm doing a lot of talking tonight, but how you get rid of, you told me to, how you get rid of fear, is by knowing something or getting to a place where you're open-minded. You got to go inside. You got to go with your intuition. If you're not inside, you don't have a lit candle. You have an outside candle that can be blown out. If you are counting on, well, this job is going to be my, savior, chances are, hopefully it will be, but chances are it may not be. And that's, the whole problem. The only place we can feel pain is in our attachment. So if I'm attached that this person's going to be, you pledge to be together for the rest of your lives in a partnership or a marriage or in a business partnership. And then something comes up and it happens unforeseen and that changes. And then we're not flexible, or we are flexible. One way or another, there's choices. Mm-hmm. But anything outside is going to have change. I mean, I'm sure there are people in the California situation, which has been really, really tough. I'm sure there's people thought that I'm going to retire in this home. I'm going to live here for a long time. All it took was a wind, an element of fire, and an element of lack of water to change everything.
Yeah.
So, and not the person, but to change their outcome, their environment. And again, what would I want? I would want to have I want another house. I want a place to live. I want my kids to go to school. I want a place for them to go to school. And if I come from need in the same from the same logic and reason, which is very reasonable, it's going to have holes in it because I'm expecting the outside to answer that problem. And this is why we have resurrection angels. This is why we have archangels. This is why we have many, many beings. We have elements. We have a lot of different things that it's more of a cosmic, I'm a cosmic kid, so it's more of a cosmic level. But I never wanted to do all this by myself. I always love it when God helps me, or the Spirit helps me, or gives me an idea, or helps me move something forward.
That's the best feeling in the world.
It's a very good, well, especially when it works.
Yeah.
But my chances, I'm not ignorant to the point where I think my chances aren't better on what do I want in using the universe than they are with expecting the earth to provide. I don't mean planet Earth. I'm just talking about the life on earth, men, people, religion, governments, and all the people in different countries and everything. All this chaos and the fear and chaos and so on, I don't think they're going to necessarily be stable for me. I don't know that they're not. I just don't know that they are. And chances are they're not. I'm sure the people that were in the war that we just saw go through and so on, and thousands and thousands of people getting killed, leaving. Of course, did they really leave? Did they really get killed? That's all debatable, but on a cosmic level. But that's not the point. The point is the anger, the fear, the abuse, and all the stuff that happened is not who we are. It's not what's inside of us and what we want. And we can say that, well, some people do, otherwise they wouldn't do it. No, inside there's a spirit, and inside that spirit has no, it's not there. They're not connected. And when you're not connected to your high God self and your spirit, you are going to go through fear, and you're going to go through confusion, and you're going to go through hatred, and you're going to go through all these different aspects, or you're going to be at least closer to going through it, anger and all this stuff. I mean, this is a lower level that is going to, when fear is present and I can't see, I can't see my way out and so on. People get depressed, the energy, the stress kills people, they give them diseases. It's not a good thing.
Right.
And most people don't want that, but they use fear. If I have to pay attention to this, if I don't pay attention, it can come and get me. I have to protect myself. Well, I want to protect myself too, but I don't want to do it with fear. I want to protect myself because why not?
Right. Nance, can I ask you a question?
Sure. No.
The thing that Elon Musk said about there being more AI than people in the next 15 years, I feel like that's a weird comment. Do you have any interpretation of that, or like advice?
I don't think it's a weird comment because it's already happening. Many speeches. I don't know if anybody else can do this, but I can hear the AI behind. They took an AI, they put in factors, and then the computer made up their speech. And it flows beautifully. It makes you, when it does that, you automatically think, well, that's true. That's true. But, again, the AI doesn't have spirit. So it can push out facts and different pieces of information, and it can make it flow beautifully. It can lie. Because you didn't ask for it to be truthful. You asked for it to, give you information. Can the AIs be a problem? Yes. Can they sometimes be good? It depends on how they're programmed. Okay. It depends. I have a friend who uses the AIs to help her get menus together for a big convention center. So, I mean, the AIs are already here. They're already being used. They're expanding their own knowledge and doing even more. This has been an information age. This last age was an information age. The whole idea is to get as much information as you can on things. So the AI now, it has this great of possibilities of going and expanding that whole process painlessly to the person who's using it. It's painless. I mean, she doesn't have to figure out all the menus. I mean, she just puts in the factors and it comes up with these great ideas. Well, okay, but it doesn't have spirit. Right. So if I use it as information, it's just information. If I run my life with it, no thanks. No, I don't think I'm going to do that. But we use our cell phones. I remember when, unfortunately, I remember a time where we didn't have cell phones. You know?
Yeah,
that was a long
we
time
had those
ago.
rotary phones.
Or they were different, or, you know, they keep coming up with bigger, better 5Gs and then bigger than that and so on. It is going to be the middle phenomena, or the middle idea is technology. You know, it's technology. It's drones. It's all kinds of things. I mean, drones go in now, and it becomes a soldier, and it can tear up a whole area, and there's not a human being involved other than the one who's controlling the drone.
Right.
So I don't think it's going to be. I think that's going to be a situation, and we're going to have to decide to keep our humanity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what people are not even keeping it when we don't even have all that yet. I mean, we have it, but we don't have it to the extent that it can be. People are being inhuman anyway. You know, they're fighting, they're arguing, they're scrapping. Everybody wants to fight. They want war. They want power. They want money. They want to lie and cheat to get their way and so on. Okay, it is what it is. But that's not. I don't think it's not the computer's fault. I think the computer is. I think people like technology. It makes their life easier, or it replaces people, or it doesn't make your life peaceful. It can be used as a drone that kills you. So it depends on what's back of this. Without spirit, without a higher level, this world is going to be in trouble and is in trouble. Mm-hmm. So I personally believe that a lot of this negativity is going to be taken away, and power is going to be taken away from people that are trying to kill, be mean, overpower, do the wrong, do horrible things.
Yeah.
I think we're moving through a age of light now, and we're moving through a photon belt that's not going to tolerate that. So I think people are in shifts. I think they're learning. I think they may not all be there yet. And they're going to have to be there on their own volition. They're going to have to be there because they know it's, what do you want? I want peace. I want this or that. What do you want? I want war. I want peace. I want war. I want power. I want overpower. I want to be greedy. I want to be this. But you're going to get the result of whatever it is that is.
I like the phrase, those who don't have good intentions have no power. I say that to myself a lot when I come across these things and they don't make me feel good inside.
And they don't have to have power if I don't buy into it. But, we're all powered. We live here, and, it's not a perfect place yet. And the elements are showing us, you want to see power. My gosh, the wind. I learned that the element of wind is the first one that needs to be quieted. Not there. And this was a great example of what just happened in California. It was because of the wind that it spread like it did. And then the next step is the fire being put out. But they had a hard time. If they can't stop the wind, it's hard to stop the fire because the wind was taking the fire and moving it all over. And then if you don't have water at the end of this, then you're not going to have the ability to smother, the flame or whatever. So, we just have all this, ideas and all these things happening right in front of us. And where am I? I don't know what to do with all this. What I do is I bring in light. I just ask for light to come in.
Bring in the light.
Yeah. I observe it and ask light, to come in. And I try to help where I can. But I'm not smart enough to know all of the different things that are happening simultaneously. I understand AIs to a certain extent. I have no idea of the end result of the AI. And I'm sure Mr. Musk used the AIs, as he says. I'm sure he did. And, can you get ahead far? If you knew how to use an AI and get all the money you needed, would you use it? Chances are people would. But if it's going to be harmful to someone else, would you still use it?
No.
That's where the humanity comes in.
Right. One of the things that I wanted to point out, Nancy, because we said about, need, wants is want, and protecting your energy. I know that we've said it on multiple podcasts before, but I just wanted to express it because we touched on it a little bit throughout the podcast. The importance of what we feel, what we think, what we perceive, and how that narrates the energy we vibrate in on a daily basis. And that energy we vibrate in on a daily basis matters. So my friends and I got together last night. We were using aura photography, crystals, biological energetic synchronization technique, and Reiki. And we were experimenting with all these different, combinations of things. And we were able to see that on the aura photography, that we were energetically impacting each other, and we were able to verify it with the technology. Sure. And it was really
We're all one.
Of course. But it was cool to take something that is an idea or concept, even though it's true, it's not always the most well-known information. So we hear it, we say it, but then we don't put tangibility behind it. So when we were able to see it on a graph, then it was like, whoa, look at us influencing each other. And we took so we each did the aura photography by ourselves, just by ourselves. And then we took one that we integrated with each other. Then did one where we worked with crystals, one where we did best, one where we had Reiki. And we were looking at those combinations. And by the end of the night, some people started off with a high heart chakra. Some people started off with high solar plex. And we could see how the more we worked together, regardless of what we were doing, laughing, talking, questioning, having conversations, or offering our healing modalities to each other, we were able to see in real time how we were creating cause and effect in each other's world from who we started out with as independently to how we blended together. And that compounds for me or for the individuals that were involved last night and the class that will present that information to, that we walk into a room and what the energy that we are vibrating is going to impact others or could impact others. And the energy that we vibrate in within ourselves can impact ourselves. So it's important that when you focus on what you want and what you don't want, that you maintain that as a baseline for what you entertain or what you allow or what you practice. So I practice self-protection. I practice self-love. I practice compassion. I practice not taking things personally. I practice focusing on love. I practice not getting into sticky situations. I do my best to practice these things so I maintain peace. I practice making my connection to my higher power, or to take deep breaths and to go within and practice mindfulness so that as I move through the world, I can be the energy that I want to be for myself and the energy that I want to be for others. That's a conscious practice. So how you feel matters to you, the life quality that you have matters to you, and the energy that you will share with others matters to you, then it has to matter to you to do what works versus what doesn't.
Well, it takes consciousness. Before I get into it's a reason why it's a ladder. It's a reason why there's different layers to consciousness. One, separation, fear, the matrix, the lower fourth dimension, the medium fourth dimension, which is the computers and technology, and the high fourth dimension that has the archangels and all the angel help. And then there's the fifth dimension that doesn't recognize anything negative, only the good and the solution. So, and then there's unity when you're in alignment with that.
Right.
So there's different, it has to do with, like you said, but we're moving out of, eventually Earth, our universe will be moving out of material. And it's going to be moving very much more into frequency. So the fact that I was lucky enough to study under Marcel Vogel, who was like the king of, he was the one that did all the research on crystals to begin with a long time ago, and put liquid crystal in matchas and different things, So I was very fortunate. I started with crystals a long time ago, understanding that they change. I lived in Cincinnati, where the whole underneath Cincinnati was a grid system, like highway system of crystals. And you could walk, you could be on one side of the street and have one feeling, and then walk across the street and you'd be in a totally different mood. So I understand the importance of all the different things that change and alter frequency. My mind is one of those. I can either be negative and influence in a negative way, or I can be positive and, and a happy. I can go inside and say, I just want happiness. I just want happiness. I just want happiness. But, again, it takes practice, like you're saying. This is why we are doing the podcasts, and this is why I have classes. It takes practice. It takes practice not to empower something you don't want.
Yes.
Because your focus is on what you don't want. And that's why I'm saying, when I say, the answer is, what do you want? That should give you a clue, because if you want to overpower people and you want to control, that should tell you that's what you want. That's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
If you are unaware that behind what I want to control is because I have a lot of fear, and I'm afraid if I'm not in control, something's going to harm me, or I'm going to lose something, or somebody I care about is going to get lost, or something happens. So it's hard to change things you don't recognize, you don't have the consciousness of. So by going, what do you want? Inside of us, people want peace in this world. There are people that want peace in the world, and I know I've said this before, and I'm not the only one saying it. I know my teacher's saying it too. Well, it said it first, actually. But anyway, he's talking. He's an ambassador that goes all over the world on world peace. And here, people want world peace, but they aren't peaceful themselves. So how does that happen?
Right.
How does that happen? People have to change, and people don't always like change. I personally like change because I don't want to suffer anymore.
Yes.
And if I can find a way out of suffering, and if I can find a way to, what do I want? I want freedom. I want peace and harmony. I want love. I want to be loving. I want, all these high things. But of course I do. I came from that.
Right.
But what about the people that were hacked? And what about all the people that had their DNA hacked? And what about all the people that never had it before? What about all the people that Earth was in war after war after war in our universe? What about all those? Well, they want the same thing. They're just not aware of it. Or if they don't want it, so be it. But eventually, it's going to happen, but it's not going to be forced on anybody. People are going to have to wake up and decide, what do I want? I don't care if it's good, bad, right, or wrong, whether it works, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter. Whatever I think is going to happen sooner or later.
I like what you mentioned earlier, Nance, because we were what came to mind when you were talking about two people and going back and forth and the need to be right. Sometimes both people are right. And what another big player in I think about that story or that example where they're standing in a classroom and one side of the ball is white and the other side is black, and these two people are going back and forth based on the perspective side that they're on, and they're saying the ball is white, the ball is black, the ball is white, the ball is black, depending on the side they see. Then the person that's standing in the center in the middle can see that it's both because of where they are in vantage point. Right. And then they spin the ball around and they see that the other person had a valid point of view because they were looking at the same ball from a different perspective. So to me, another thing, or what I really, really, really love, especially with communication, is that what we feel what we say, what others say is a reflection, what we say is a reflection of us. What others say is a reflection of them. People will give away, you will give away your thoughts and your feelings as you speak. So sometimes, when you have a conversation with somebody and you make a statement, the statement in your mind might be neutral, but the statement in someone else's mind may not be so neutral, or it could trigger them, or they say something and it triggers you. Language, the English language, is both ambiguous and dynamic. Each word has a different meaning.
It's all language and words and so on. But you know what? Anything I say is an offering. It can be yay or nay. It can be good or bad. It could be right or wrong. But whatever I'm saying is an offering. I don't expect people to take what I say. I don't have that expectation of people. If I can be in alignment and somebody recognizes there's something, I haven't thought of it that way, it can help. But I think of all healing as an offering.
Right.
Well, I think here as M's, and I think we're here to help. A teacher offers herself or his self. They offer themselves to impart information to students. I'm talking about like schools, high schools, and I taught high school for a long time. I mean, all I could do is offer information, and then they decided. I used to tell them what was going to be on tests. This is not a surprise. I mean, here's what I think your carryover value needs to be, and here's what I'm testing on, just to see where you're at on it. I'm not seeing if you're good or bad, right or wrong, or smart or not smart. I just want to know if you understood what I was teaching.
Right. Denise says,
and that's the way it is. I mean, we don't have the right to impose our thinking and have the expectation of everybody doing the same thing. I mean, I don't really care what people do in most cases. I care in the sense of seeing animals hurt. I care in the sense of I care more when I see humanity taking care of an animal that's been hard. I get really excited when the animal goes to the human for help, and comes out, and because they need the human help. And they do. I mean, there's so many beautiful things that are happening right in the same time of all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. So, again, I have a choice, and what do I choose? I choose to observe and add light to something, or I choose to, my ideas are just ideas. There are things that I personally feel like I know. For me, I know. And I do believe, one of the things I know is the universal law is the only thing that doesn't change. I mean, why would I want to go against universal law of being, love, peace, harmony, and well-being? Why do I want to go against that when it's the only thing that works in the long run?
Right.
And people say, well, greed works, I get, power works, people have the power. It only works in a false matrix.
That's right. You'll just exacerbate the matrix we have. Now, Denise says, I'm sorry I'm not typing that much. I'm just so enthralled listening and loving it. I'm taking it all in, Nancy.
Thanks. Well, then I offer. I'm glad you're taking the offer. And I appreciate your offer of, saying you're getting something from it.
Another listener here. Happy to be catching tea hour today.
See, and how do we can keep saying the same thing over and over again, but it takes saying things over and over again.
Right.
To understand, that we have a lot of habits. We were in a false matrix for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, now we got to remember and again, to me, the key is I believe pretty strongly that I believe that the key pretty strongly is get out of right and wrong and good and bad. It's all a matter of perspective. It's all a matter of how you think. Get into whether something works or it doesn't work. And I say a lot of times I get the information that the person's talking about, and my question back to them is, how did that work? How's it working?
It's such a good, especially like I've this has been said to me so many times. I've called Nancy for something and she goes, well, how's that working for you?
Well,
and if it's
I mean,
working good, it's great. And if not,
it
it's
may
not.
work for you and not work for someone else. But if something doesn't work and it's not consistently working, and it's going the opposite direction, why would I want to keep doing it?
Right. I mean,
why would I want to do that? I don't understand why I would even want to do that. Well, most people don't want to do it. A lot of people don't want to do it, but they don't know how to change it.
Right. I think
so then I was lucky enough to have teachers like you're saying, I've been able to do some with you. I've been lucky enough to have teachers they don't tell me what to do. They just point the way of, why don't you try this, try that? But studying the universal law, understanding the universal law is very helpful for me. I can tell if something is in alignment or not by, if they're breaking universal law, then chances are they're not. If they're not, then don't expect them to be doing everything that you're going to agree to.
I agree, and I understand.
One thing I like about the ladder, of the separation fear and the box that's the matrix, and then the negative, and then all these different areas, I can tell immediately what I'm doing. I know where I'm at. If I'm sitting there and coming from fear and need, and I'm coming from doubt, and I'm coming from any kind of place other than absolutely this is the way it is. Or if I'm not asking for help from a higher level or asking for assistance, and I keep making the same mistakes over and over again, expecting different results, which it doesn't work. We all know that. And but the habits make us keep doing that. In our subconscious mind, I was a hypnotist for years. Still am. The subconscious is a computer, and it has a lot of information. Our heart chakra has a high self that knows everything we've ever done, where we've done it, why we've done it, and been, everything. So between the two, why wouldn't I want to know what the high self knows? Right. So I can sit there and update the computer.
I feel like too, our habits when we are practicing what does work, or practicing to make what does work our knee-jerk reaction, the thing to do, we get a front row seat of where our gaps are. And this was like something I got taught by a mentor, is that we are not we are a perfect soul, but in our human experience, the conditions that we've taken on or learned, we may not have all the pieces. So instead of, when we come to the realization that we may not have all the pieces, recognize it as a gap. And he calls it, his example was using it as a flower pot. He goes, first I'm a flower and I'm growing this pot and I have the soil that's put in there. But if nobody teaches me that I need to change out my soil, or I need to upgrade the size of my pot, or I need to add in some seeds and nourish myself or get fertilizer, I'm never going to realize how, where, when I need to grow. So I might be trying to do something with worn out tools and I need to upgrade. As soon as I realize that I'm in need of an upgrade, I have to decide what that upgrade looks like. And that's where my gap is. If you have soil that needs to be replenished, it doesn't make you a failure. If you have an old shovel and you need a new one, it doesn't make you bad or inadequate in any way. So instead of personalizing these false ideologies, just understand that you're just in need of a new tool. And he's like, keep reaffirming to yourself that no matter what you do, you are a success, and make an effort to fill the gap and expect great things. And that was very inspirational to hear.
Well, and I think, again, everything is teaching me either what I want or I don't want.
Oh, yes. Very much so.
Which side on the fence am I? Am I wanting to get out of suffering? Do I want to have love, peace, and harmony in my life? Then I need to be on that side of the fence.
Yeah.
And learn as much as I can and do it as often. And if I make a mistake, it's just any mistake that you make is just showing you what you don't want if you're an M.
Exactly.
If you have if you're a master, you're going to, it's not about making mistakes or not making mistakes. It's not about, and who's to say what is a mistake and who, I don't know what everyone signed up for.
Right.
But it's either in alignment with the universal law or it's not.
Right.
If it's not, then it's just showing me I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that universal laws are so important, and that was what started the whole fall, was the argument about universal law being one of them, big one. It's a universal law is like the difference between having, this is a Nancyism, but the difference between having universal law and not having it.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an orchestra and you have everyone playing different instruments and, everybody playing and so on, and it's in harmony and it's beautiful and it's music and it's symphony, and so forth, and the notes are perfect, everything is pure, then you have universal law. If you have people screeching, and playing all different levels at different times and doing different things and out of sync to whatever whatever's trying to be accomplished there, then you're out of line. I mean, the universal law is not, you're not in alignment with it.
Yeah, oil the squeaky wheel.
I just think of it like an orchestra, and there's beautiful music and beautiful opportunity, and the pitch of voices being perfect. That to me is what universal law is.
Mm-hmm.
It allows that to be. It allows all this to come from who knows how many planets, how many races, and how many places. It allows all of us to come and still be at peace.
Yes.
If we want it.
Yes.
And that's universal law to me. Universal law allows everyone, by following universal law, being universal law, having the heart of love, peace, harmony, and well-being, and caring, and all the wonderful attributes, makes me a better person to be able to be in that orchestra.
Absolutely. Nancy, there's a viewer that's watching that said that they're enjoying what we're offering so much, and they started out with a headache, and they said that their headache is not going to deter them from watching because they care so much about what we have to say, which is beautiful. But I was wondering, could we make some kind of an offering, a healing, a prayer, something to this effect for those who are with us in this moment?
Sure.
Okay. Are you comfortable starting that off for us?
Yeah, let me just think about it. And I think it's a good way to end.
I agree.
All right. I want everyone who wants to participate, your eyes are going to open and close. You're going to I'm going to count from 12 down to 1, and with each number I count, your eyes are going to open and then they're going to close. But somewhere between 12 and 1, you're going to feel like just keeping your eyes closed. 12. 11. And when you feel like keeping your eyes closed, you're going to go in a very, very relaxed space. 10. And you can always do this yourself. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. And if your eyes are still open, you'll close and you'll still go so deep. 2. And 1. You'll go as deep as you want to be. And your eyes will close as you want it to be. I want you to go into your heart chakra right behind your physical heart. And you have a high self there. A self that knows everything about you, that is so beautiful and so highly evolved. And you're going to go inside the heart chakra, and you're going to, the high self, you're going to have some kind of, it could be, you might see it, you might feel it, you may, because you went in, you may feel it later, whatever, but it's going to contact you in some way. And you're going to realize it. It always contacts you, but you're going to realize it. becoming more and more relaxed as you go into the heart chakra, and you're going to start breathing from the heart chakra. In and out breath, and opening up your heart to hear or see, feel or experience something now or in the future with your high self, some personal thing. It's going to give you some personal experience. While you're doing that, your body is going to be celebrating. Any discomfort is going to leave and disappear because it's not needed. It's going to be whatever is missing, whatever is out of balance, is going to right itself and be balanced here. And while you're sitting there and feeling there and so on, your high self is going to make sure that you're connected, and you're going to love the feeling. It's right there with you in your heart chakra. And the God mind is right back of your neck, where the head and the neck experience together. And your mind, even your mind understands that it doesn't have to be in pain. Even your mind understands that you don't need pain in order to express itself. That you don't need to suffer in order to be protected and in alignment. What you need is, what you want is whatever you want, but not pain. It rights itself, it cleanses itself, it balances itself. Everything in healing is just balance. And your body now is offering you an opportunity. And your mind is offering you an opportunity. Your high self is offering you an opportunity. You don't have to do anything, it does it for you. You don't have to think in anything, it does it for you. As you breathe, you become more and more relaxed. And when you're breathing from your heart chakra, it feels good. And I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and you'll, or 5, and on 5 your eyes open, but you can always return and continue it if you choose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, that was super relaxing. I hope that our listener feels better from their headache, and I'm grateful
Or they will. I mean, if they don't yet, they will.
Right.
The headache comes from a conflict between the neck and the head. You know, the neck is between the heart, right?
Right, the head and the heart.
The head and the heart. And so headaches come when, probably when we're thinking too much.
Yes.
Or when the thinking is confused or whatever the case might be. And the headache is just showing me that I need to come from my heart first, then my head.
Nilda says that was beautiful. Denise says thank you. We have happy viewers, happy life.
There you go.
Indeed.
Makes it worthwhile.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nancy, for walking us through that meditation.
You're very welcome. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for taking part in another episode of Lighten Up Zen Life. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.